On January 16, 2014, the remains of 14-year-old Avante Aquando, an autistic teenager from Queens, New York, were discovered along the East River. Avante had gone missing after wandering out of his school on October 4, 2013. The location of his remains were within 11 miles of the school. Avante's story made national news, but unfortunately this tragic end to a young life has become all too common among children and youth with autism. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 1 in 68 children in the U.S. are identified with autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder is characterized by persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction across multiple contexts, and restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior, interest, or activities. Of those children who are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, 49% are prone to wander from safe environments such as a home or school. Having an older sister who was autistic, I learned firsthand how quickly wandering could occur. On a warm summer afternoon during our childhood, it took only minutes for my sister to quietly unlock the screen door and walk out of our home. We found her a short time later at the corner store several blocks from our home. That incident gave me a better understanding as to why my mother had so many rules in place in our house. It was to ensure my sister's safety. The United States government needs to do more to keep children and youth with autism safe. We need to provide GPS tracking devices to families to help quickly locate children and youth that go missing, ensure that law enforcement agencies are properly trained on how to search for autistic children and youth, and establish a special alert system to notify the public when a child or youth with autism goes missing. Children and youth with autism behave differently than an unaffected child that goes missing. The community needs to be made aware of specific details related to that individual child. It's important to know whether or not the child is verbal or nonverbal, if they are fearful of things such as loud noises, or whether or not an individual should approach the child if they see them. Besides a missing persons report, there is currently no alert system in place for an autistic child that goes missing. The Amber Alert system that is used for missing children can only be used when it involves an abduction. This generally doesn't apply to missing autistic children and youth because they have simply wandered off. Are our law enforcement agencies prepared to look for a missing child with autism? Autistic children wander off for different reasons into unusual places. They are attracted to things that can be extremely dangerous. Children with autism often have an extremely high attraction to water. Because of this, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children strongly recommend first responders and search teams immediately check all nearby bodies of water in an effort to head off the child. Law enforcement agencies must respond differently. In addition to knowing basic information about the child, such as what they were wearing and where they were last seen, they must also gather specific behavioral information about an autistic child or youth. Other potentially dangerous attractions include roads, highways, trains, fire trucks, and bright lights. It's important to quickly identify any unique interest the child has and create a list of their favorite places. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children also suggests that you ask for information about any interests, stimulations, or obsessions the child may have. This information could provide key clues leading to a safe recovery. We have to use all available resources to protect our children. The use of GPS tracking devices will allow families to keep track of where their children and youth with autism are and alert them if they leave their secure environments. Registering GPS tracking devices with local law enforcement agencies will provide police with another tool to quickly track and locate autistic children when they are reported missing. Some GPS tracking devices are available through private companies. However, these devices can be very expensive for families to purchase. In addition, because these devices are not registered through law enforcement, police do not have immediate access to the tracking data. There are many associations, groups, and government agencies that have developed independent programs and resources to try and combat this growing problem, but additional action must be taken. With the help of the U.S. government, we can keep our children and youth with autism safe. Providing GPS tracking devices to families, establishing a special alert system to notify the public when a child or youth with autism goes missing, and ensuring that law enforcement agencies are properly trained to search for autistic children are all steps in the right direction. The United States government must do more to keep children and youth with autism safe. The Avante Aquando tragedy and so many others involving autistic children and youth have brought to light the need for safeguards. We are taking steps in the right direction, but more must be done to reduce and ultimately eliminate any more tragedies.